Welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's that dude Jeepers Creepers, and let's get to it, shall we? I'm not crazy. I heard a heavy sigh, and the lights were flicked on, blinding me. Says the officer, looking genuinely concerned. Are you okay now, son? I hesitated, debating if I should answer him. My eyes finally adjusted to the blinding lights, and I examined the room. Metal walls, concrete floors. I'm sitting at a cold steel table with a bar made for handcuffs to keep inmates from harming the officers. I'm not handcuffed, though. I'm a victim, I think. No. Is this place real? The officer looked stunned for a minute, then spoke in a calm, almost soothing voice. Yes, this place is real, and you're very safe here. He doesn't speak for a good minute or two. I think there were minutes at least. It's been really hard for me to tell time these days. Why don't you start with what happened? I tensed up at the question, not wanting to remember what happened. Why my head is fucked up. Why I'm sane, yet insane at the same time. But I nodded. I was in my kitchen, making a snack before I went to bed, when I heard a thump that seemed to come from within the walls. I was startled, but I didn't question it, because I did have neighbors who would move stuff all the time. I ate my snack in bed and turned on the TV when I heard that thump again. This time it was under my bed. I was so spooked I hopped out of the bed and pressed my back against the wall, only to see this thing come out from under it. At first, it could have been mistaken for a shadow, but then a solid hand started to pull itself out from under the bed. As it pulled itself up, I saw its face. I feel heat behind my eyes, tears starting to well up in them. Everything's becoming blurry. I feel a hand on my back. Keep going, son. We need to know what happened. I gulped hard, then glanced at the officer and nodded. The face was horribly messed up. No eyes. It looked like they were gouged out, and the edges of its sockets were shredded. Blood constantly gushing from its nose like a water fountain, and it never stopped. Its lips were cut off entirely, a huge gaping hole where its mouth should have been, and it was sewn over, but the stitching did nothing to fix it. I looked over at the officer, and I'm not entirely sure, but it seemed like doubt was shadowing his face. But he motioned for me to continue. The face was the most human part of this thing. It stood up, almost 10 feet tall, as it had to crouch down to fit. It had what must have been like hundreds of tendrils, each as long as its body, but barbed and painful. So fucking painful. Its skin was black and looked like rotted flesh. Thousands of gashes all over its body, each of them spilling what seemed to be its blood, if you could call it that. But it would burn if it touched you. I ran for the door, but I failed to reach it in time, and it grabbed me by my leg, the barbs tearing into my flesh. It threw me out the window, and I can't remember how many bones I broke. I said, breaking down. my body shaking from my racking sobs. I tried getting up, as it took its time using its tendrils to crawl out of the window and down the side of my apartment. But I couldn't get up. When it finally got to me, it didn't say anything except for a guttural sound. But I knew the words. They were in my head. You're mine now, and if you ever leave, you will suffer a death worse than anything you could ever imagine. It raised one of its tendrils, and then it was just black. I woke up I cringed at the memory of the place I was caged in, but continued. It was a dark room, no lighting, but the entire thing was made of metal, and it seemed to be underground. I don't know how long I was there, but 7 years, the officer said, an obvious shake in his voice. 7 years? That's how long it took them to find me? My eyes started to well up again, and then I said, I was there for 7 years until you found me, and now here we are. The officer looked at me with a face of pity, then looked over at his partner and told him to handcuff me. What? My hands were pressed against the table, and the officer took each one of them, sliding one end of the handcuffs on. Why am I being handcuffed? I demanded, hearing the other side of the handcuffs click onto the bar. Son, you're a danger to us as you are now. I stared at the officer in disbelief, betrayal ripping through my mind as I started panicking and shouting. What? You guys don't believe me? Someone else came in and plunged the needle into my neck. I believe someone took you, but your window wasn't open or broken. I started crying as I said, I know. The room started to spin. I know why. I know. Blackness consumed me as I passed out. My eyes fluttered open as I glanced around me. It's a white room. My heart breaks as I realize the room is padded and I'm in a straitjacket. What's going on? I cry under my breath as the door opens. Jackson Pryor, welcome to St. Willis Mental Institute. You'll be staying here until... I stood up, alarming him. I don't belong here, I said, my voice shaking. That's what everyone says, Jackson. You'll be here until we can figure out what exactly happened to you and how we can fix it. White-hot anger shot throughout my body. I told you what happened. I fucking told them what happened. I know what I fucking saw. I know what I felt. I screamed as the door slammed shut. Great. Now I'm stuck here. I lied down on the floor, and after a few moments, I was asleep. I jolted up. My eyes widened, and I started screaming. Get me out of here! It's coming for me! The figure started sliding its way under the door, standing straight up, towering over me. It's too late. In a voice that was not that of a human, nor a monster, it said, You left me, Jackson. What did I tell you? I really don't know what to say about this one, but If you liked it, remember to chainsaw that like button in half, feed it to the comment section, all while torching that subscribe button. Because arson. And stay safe, my fellow creeps. GP's gonna take a nap. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's been rough. Anyways, peace out.